Now we're ready.
Hey everyone, this is Rob Altman, President of the Maui EV Association. Welcome you to our annual meeting on December 2023. And we're here at the Wailea Healing Center in Wailea at the Wailea Golf Course, right next to Mulligan's. Beautiful location. So what we're going to do today is, the order we're going to do things is, first I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've done, what we're thinking of doing for next year, and then we'll have a general discussion about things that are on your mind and what you guys think we should be doing in the coming year. And then we'll finish off with elections of the new board. So, the Maui EV Association is an independent organization. We formed this in July 2021. It belongs to the Hawaii EV Association, and through that, to the EV Association, to the National Electric Vehicle Association. The Hawaii EV Association will be working on getting nonprofit 501c3 status next year, which will help us too. But Kevin will be talking after me about how he's working on getting us nonprofit status for our own group. Our last annual meeting was actually on April 28th, 2023. And the board that was elected at that time was Kevin Kern, Tom Lowe, and myself, Rob Altman. And the board added Kevin Watkins earlier this year. Kevin is moving to Oahu. As a matter of fact, he probably already has moved to Oahu. And Tom Lowe has gotten very busy with work, so has been unable to participate. So one of the things we worked on a lot last year was the energy code update. So our previous board member, Kara Flores, reviewed charging requirements in other states for new construction, as well as other counties and cities, and came up with an aggressive plan that we refined in the board and submitted to the County Council Care Committee. Leslie Milner from Council Services wrote up a proposal for changes to the energy code based on our request, and it included our proposals, but we had 3 objections to what she put together. It offered a parallel way to comply with, that made things complicated, and that we thought might make it possible for developers to avoid providing sufficient charging capability. It allowed developers to use points from one project to avoid providing charging capacity in another project. And worst of all, it dropped the requirements altogether for developments with living units selling for 100% or less of the average median income. In other words, those would not necessarily have any charging ability at all. We argued against those things, but at that time, Council Member Kelly King felt that we were so near the end of the year that we should try not to make changes that could prevent this from being adopted. If it wasn't adopted by the end of the year, then the state code would have been in effect and we would not have had the ability to make changes. As it is, we can make changes going forward. The changes that we proposed, they took effect on January 1st this year. And what this means is that newly constructed parking stalls in newly constructed residential multi-unit buildings that add 8 or more new parking stalls must ensure 70% of all newly added parking stalls are electric vehicle capable. In other words, that they have electric wires drawn all the way up. And at least 20% of the newly added parking stalls must be electrical vehicle charger ready, and at least 10% must have electric vehicle chargers in place and operational. Newly constructed parking stalls in commercial buildings that add 10 or more parking stalls must have 40% of all newly added parking stalls electric vehicle capable, and at least 10% must have electric vehicle chargers in place and operational. This is revolutionary. We've never had anything like this on Maui. And actually, there's nothing like that anywhere else in Hawaii. The next thing we worked on a lot was parking lot chargers. So state law has long required that any parking lot that has 100 or more stalls should have at least one charging station of any kind. We submitted proposed legislation in late 2020 to increase that requirement to 2 chargers per 50 stalls. In other words, if there were 200 stalls, then there would be at least four chargers. and would escalate over the years too. And this is modeled on the bill that was unanimously adopted by the Hawaii County Council last year. But unfortunately, the bill on Maui has been on hold since the fires in August. Hopefully we can pick it up again once the council is freed up to start working on other things. We also worked on enforcing the current state law on parking lots charges. We filed tickets for the county to enforce the requirement at dozens of large parking lots around Maui Island late last year. And the county sent notices to comply during the fall with a requested compliance date 1 year in the future. And I don't think any of them have complied. So it is time for us to file new tickets. And I have updated the spreadsheet that we have for parking lots for South Maui based on Larry Stevens' report and also based on what's in PlugShare. But I would appreciate help in determining whether we have compliance for the parking lots in the other parts of the island, particularly Central Maui. We organized test drive electric days at University of Hawaii Maui College during Earth Day in April and during the National Drive Electric Week, September 23rd, where we had dealers come and offer their vehicles to test drive. And also, a lot of our members came in and showed off their vehicles so people could see what they look like and ask questions, share information. In terms of state legislation, so we pushed in the session, the 2023 session, for restoring the charging station and EV rebates. There actually is a charging station rebate in place. I think it's $4,500, but currently it's only for commercial charging stations, not for home charging stations anymore. And we also pushed to restore the $7,500 home charging rebate that used to exist. But we failed. We had a really good year, 2022, but in 2023, very little environmentally went past in the legislature. Most of the things died at the very end. So that's what we did. And obviously we want to continue on the things that we started that didn't complete. The legislation on parking lot requirements, the enforcement of parking lot requirements, legislation for the 2024 legislative session, and participating in Drive Electric Days when we can. But we're very open to whatever you guys think we should be focusing on. So that was my intro. And I wonder, Kevin, if you want to talk a little bit about what you work on for getting us 501c3 status and what that would mean to us if we got it.
Everybody, please round of applause for our president of the association. Rob, you're great. Thank you for all your hard work all these years. Let me figure out how far away. There you go. I need to keep this microphone. So the board has been working together to get a 501c3 status for our organization, and this means a lot of great things for our organization. Is that we can begin to be innovative and explore how we can have more of an impact in our local community. And so we know that our members are valuable to us, and we want to begin to develop through this exploration we're going to be doing over the next year as a 501c3, ways that we can directly benefit not only our members of the community, but anybody that really drives an electric vehicle. And how can we educate our community, our tourism, and to embracing these new technologies and to creating infrastructure with the big organizations as well as little local businesses as well to support the workers, you know, our blue collar class, as well as, you know, our white collar tourism. And so, you know, there's a great crossover there on how we can have a symbiotic system and infrastructure for building, maintaining, and enabling and spreading electric vehicle charging stations and utilization and embracement of electric vehicles in general. So, as we explore and innovate being a 501c3, we look forward to getting grants. We look forward to inviting our members right now. If I can reach out to our members, we are looking to elect a board and get more board members. The previous boards have done so much hard work to get us to where we are today, and we really need to bolster up our team. And so this is an open invitation to our members that want to be part of an amazing team and explore how we can create more impact for Greater Maui Nui. So there's a lot of kind of unknowns going into the future, but the thing is, the more brilliant minds, the more of our community members that we have that want to work together with us, the more that we can give back and give back to the community, give back to and reshape and reimagine what ecotourism looks like in transportation as well. I think that's really when we build the infrastructure to support electric vehicle adoption, it ultimately is going to benefit the community fivefold, maybe even tenfold more than it benefits the tourists. They come here for a week or 10 days at a time, but that charging infrastructure that we work with the county, we work with the state, we investigate what kind of federal program support we can get. All of that infrastructure that we're going to be innovating and bringing over to Maui is going to benefit our residents, that live here every day and need, and drive their electric vehicle and want to switch over to electric vehicle with the outrageous gas prices. This transition is really going to benefit our residents, our community, our members, and there's a way that we can develop ecotourism alongside that at the same time. So I think that's all I have to say for the moment, but I'm going to give it back to our president, Rob. And thank you guys so much for tuning into our live stream if you're tuning in live, but look forward to watching this when you have the time.
Thank you. So I saw that in 2015, there were not a whole lot of electric vehicles in the United States at all, but at that time, Maui had the highest density of electric vehicles in the United States. Now it's pretty far from that. I mean, not really, really far, but it's certainly not at the top. And I think the reason for that is in 2015 we had this Jumpstart Maui collaboration with Hitachi, so we had really good charging infrastructure, and that has rotted. I mean, so many of the charging stations that exist at that time are no longer there, they're no longer working. And obviously having good charging infrastructure is what makes it possible for many people. People who have a garage where they can charge, like we do, they're okay, but people who don't, and a lot of people live in condos or apartment buildings don't have that ability, so they really need public charging. I believe that at this time, about 15% of all vehicles registered in Hawaii are electric, and that puts us at 4th place after California, Washington, and Oregon among states, and improving. But I think California has like 25%, and in the Bay Area, California Bay Area, like 45% of all vehicles that are purchased at this time are electric. So we have a ways to go, but I'm pretty sure that if people felt that it was easier to acquire an electric vehicle and easier to charge it, and more people would switch. Okay, so at that point, I'd like to open up to any ideas and suggestions you guys have. You're in the audience for what do you guys think we did well, didn't do well last year, what things we should be doing in the coming year. How about you over there?
Members?
I'm still researching and catching up. I'm not exactly sure what all went down last year.
Would you step up and introduce yourself and talk to the mic? You guys can pass it back and forth.
Aloha. I'm still new to learning a little bit about how Maui and the regulations work.
Who are you?
I'm not sure. My name is LaRue, by the way. I am still trying to understand how the solar improved since 2020 and 2021. Even though we're going to talk more about EV and electric charging, not everybody has the luxury of being in a home or in a place that, even if they're working, they can to basically go about your day without having to plan things up. It's definitely where we're trying to find solutions. I don't have any particularly in mind, aside from I know a lot of this can kind of go hand in hand, especially with our housing infrastructure and a lot of the saving money if we're able to create a bigger system to replace, I shouldn't say replace, but to improve some of the charging accessibility. Even if there is a charging station or electric parking vehicle space, it's actually a working one, whether it's either kicked off the network or for some reason due to electric difficulties it just doesn't work. The availability and access is kind of what we need to maintain and improve upon, is what I've been noticing in the past couple of months. As far as making people aware of it, making our tourism as well as just our locals aware of where they can charge, what hours are available, as well as not having to wait on just the one charger that's for a couple of miles around. It's being aware, having the infrastructure, and getting that accessibility is where I know it's going, but I don't exactly know what the solutions are since I'm kind of new and still learning yet.
What's your favorite charging spot?
So far, favorite charging spot is over at the Haley gas station and Safeway, which is owned by Hawaiian Electric. It is the only supercharger on island since Tesla officially has no superchargers on Maui. There's also another reason why I kind of want to support some of what people purchase in their vehicles, because with Tesla you're supposed to get your first year of free charging basically through a Tesla destination charger, which we have no access to. These are just kind of the first world problems that again I'm noticing, but these are also things that kind of go hand in hand with how do we make it more affordable either to live or to rent, how do we make it a more eco-friendly tourism package as well as local package.
Was there a question in
Thank
there?
you. So one big breakthrough we're hoping will happen by the end of the year is the Federal Infrastructure Act, or actually it was the Inflation Reduction Act, provide a bunch of money for charging stations. And it's called NEVI, I forget what that stands for, National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure, probably. And so Maui is getting one location with 4 really, really high power chargers, like 150 kilowatts each, something like that. And I'm not sure exactly where it is. I think it's supposed to be in Wailuku. But Ed Smith, and the director of Department of Transportation, is hoping to get it in by the end of the year. So that'll be nice, because that's like supposed to be at a location where a lot of people will be passing through, and hopefully they can charge up on the way through. And then another thing which I think is important there is charging at work, because a lot of people, for 2 reasons. One is obviously not everyone can charge at home, and the other one is that we have all the solar power during the day, which we don't have at night. At night, still about half of our power at night most of our power is coming from fossil fuels. So the more we can get people charging during the day, the better. So the bill that we got through that changes the energy code to get companies to have charging infrastructure, I think that will help. And hopefully we'll see much more of that as new industries are built and as companies rebuild. If any company rebuilds more than 50% of their area, then they have to comply with this new energy code. So, how about you over there sitting behind the water bottle? Do you have any suggestions or ideas? What would you like to see happen that would make your life easier as an EV driver?
Thank you. My name is Peggy. You kind of touched on 2 of my concerns, one of which was more access to superchargers. Because right now, for me, there's only level 2s available, and they still take forever. That's a big one. And another one you also touched on is using solar to charge, because it doesn't really do the environment a whole lot of good if everybody's charging their EVs off of our diesel that we're burning at Maui. Because that's dirtier than coal. And we need to be able to charge off of solar. So I'm curious if this group has any interface with groups on Maui or in Hawaii at larger scale that are working on trying to increase solar throughout the islands.
So we haven't, there's a lot of overlap, intersection. A lot of the places where I'm working on, and we have been working on legislation, we're working together with people who are working particularly on solar. And and getting rid of all the fossil fuel and energy generation. So for example, one of the places we worked on legislation is the what's it called, the Hawaii Environmental Environmental Initiative, I think it's called, something like that. But decarbonization. So it's coordinating a bunch of different sub areas we put forward legislation for in front of the state, and we're putting together a package right now for the next year. And some of that has to do with things like replacing school buses with electric buses. Things like some of it doesn't have directly to do with energy, but more to do with regenerative farming, other things which would reduce the reliance on fossil fuel products. But it also has to do with encouraging fossil-free energy production as well as fossil-free transportation. Transportation is the hugest contribution to fossil fuels emissions in Hawaii, like 40%. And unfortunately with Hawaii, we have this problem with the only way to get here is by plane, pretty much. Very few people can get here any other way. And planes emit a tremendous amount of fossil fuels. And there's no elimination on the horizon. There's reduction. They can mix in biofuel, and that reduces it maybe 10%, 20%. And short haul, there are other options. So I expect to be seeing within the next, say, 5 years, trial transportation within islands and between islands using electric planes. But it's a long ways before they can do that between the islands and the continents. So yes, we are working on with those with a number of other groups who are more focused on, where their focus is on getting rid of fossil fuel energy production. I personally am very much involved with that too. But the Maui Nui EV Association is focused on the transportation part of it, which is a significant part.
I can say, as a board member of this organization, I can't say too much because I'm currently under an NDA through the development process, but I am working together with a couple groups, and there's a working group called Rainbow Warriors, as lovely as that sounds here in Hawaii. But there is a working group and lots of federal funding coming through a nonprofit channel to acquire land and develop solar, especially on the leeward side of Maui. So as part of the Lahaina rebuild and just part of overall the goals of the island to be energy independent, I believe the Aloha Plus Challenge has been a document that's been around for a while. If you just Google Aloha Plus Challenge, you can see what our energy, and not just energy, but other sustainability goals are on the island that have been set forth for, I believe, at least 5 years old, if not a decade old. A decade when it first started, but since it's been published, at least 5 years to my knowledge. And so I am working together to with my day job doing real estate. I am only obliged to say so much, but I am working with a group that is working on acquiring land on the leeward side, so West Maui and South Maui, Kihei, Lahaina, and sort of each of those regions, to not only create massive megawatt level solar, but to also innovate to where it is a co-op model, much like Mana Pacific has created over on Molokai. And some of those people from that organization are working on this project. So I think I can say all that without violating my NDA.
I didn't hear it from you.
Yeah, you didn't hear it from me. But there are passionate people in the energy sector, and in the wake of these disasters that we had with the August fires, Kula, Lahaina, it has definitely, I've seen, spurred the community to, kind of bring out some big minds and some big dreams, and sort of use this disaster, this, all pun intended, I guess, to have this fire lit in our hearts to realize and reimagine, what we should be doing to Malama Maui in its best way, and to see our plantation era infrastructure, evolve into something new and different, and so it's been a very hard time, as I'm sure everyone listening to this knows, on Maui since August 8th. But at the same time, it's been a really beautiful time because the community is really coming together, and there's an opportunity to really hold government accountable, hold the private sector accountable for what we do with our land. And I really think that going into the future, that big megawatt solar systems and new communities that fully embrace solar, and all the legislation with new development really being enforced to have us create a renewable and green future as we rebuild in the wake of this devastation. So I'm an optimist. I've always been an optimist. But it's we have one of the most amazing communities that this planet has to offer. Maui no Kauai in the state even, and it's our members work together with us, work together in the community, and really share aloha and really spread Malama. And I think that there's a bright future ahead of us for what's going to happen in the energy and transportation sector.
Thank you. So Kevin touched on another aspect of this. One aspect is just replacing fossil fuel with renewable sources like solar, but the other aspect, there are a couple more aspects. One aspect he touched on was putting the energy production near where people live. So in other words, instead of 40, 80, 150 megawatt power plants, you have rooftop solar, we have 1 megawatt community solar projects, which are closer to where people live, which is much more resilient. You have much less transmission losses. You can have a community continue producing energy even if power lines go down or power goes down in other parts of the island. So that's very important. And the third aspect is actually energy conservation, looking at the ways that we can reduce the amount of heat and cooling, whatever we're doing, which just disappears out into the ether without doing providing us any value. Reducing our dependency on energy, any kind of energy, means that we can get by with less fossil fuels. So that's another leg of the thing. Okay, any more questions or ideas, suggestions from the audience?
No, not one. No, all your questions have been answered.
Okay, in that case, I think, so we have some food here, but I think before we get to the food, let's just go right into the board election. So I think we should have 3 board members. More than 3 is fine. We should have at least three board members. That works well. So I will take nominations from the floor.
Peggy, you want to be on the board?
That depends.
You have to work with me and this guy.
Well, gee, I don't know. That's pretty terrible.
It's pretty terrible. Yeah, I know. He's smart and I'm charming, and it's dastardly.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah? Would you like a nomination? Do you want it? I'm not going to force it upon you.
Well, I mean, I guess I would.
Because we've lost 2 of our board members.
Right.
Yeah. Kevin
I
is
kind of would
left
need
island.
to know what the role would involve, because I'm involved in other activities too.
Well,
I'm retired, but I'm doing a lot of volunteer work for other organizations
I mean, it's really up to you.
in the food insecurity space.
You definitely
and the
need some
animal
women on the
rescue
team.
space.
Because me and this guy, I'm just.
Yeah, that's toxic.
I mentioned things that we haven't worked on. We'll probably continue to work on, like filing tickets to make sure there are chargers wherever there's supposed to be chargers. discussing and proposing legislation, holding drive electric days or the types of informational events. You've been to one of those?
Yeah, I've been to 2 of them.
2 of them, okay. So are you willing to still up, be part of the board?
Yeah, I'll try it.
I nominate
Peggy Hansen.
Peggy Hansen. Nominate Peggy Hansen.
Peggy Hansen nominated. Do we have 2 more?
You don't want to be on the board? No, you have to live with him. What do you want? Do you want a board still? Your plate's too full. What do you think?
I know I have more to learn than necessarily give out. I can give out my time, but I need more experience.
All right, I'll take that as a no. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, wait, we're voting for approval of a board member. It's just you and I, Rob. What's your vote for the nomination of Peggy?
Oh no, let's get all the nominations first and then we'll vote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we have 1 nomination, like at least 2 more.
I will also nominate Peggy Hansen.
Okay, seconded.
There you go. Nominated. Wait, didn't I put it up first? I counted the first one, so I can't count. I can't double vote.
So we need anyone can nominate any number of people, but I think we should have at least 3 to be a functioning board. Okay, I nominate Kevin Watkins.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Okay.
I'll be there. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, you're nominated as well. I thought you're the president. I didn't know that we
Someone
had
has to nominate me.
I nominate you.
Second Rob.
Okay.
Yeah, Rob for president.
I just kind of assumed you guys were continuing.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah. I just
And
missed
then,
the
do we have
procedure.
a fourth person nominated here?
Oh, I was just saying there too.
Right. Okay. Are you willing to be on the board, or
I would like to, but I still have a lot to learn.
it's a place to learn, really.
I'm in the
Okay.
same boat.
And I'm sorry. Could you say your name again?
LaRue Anderson.
Liver Anderson. Okay. So we have 4 nominations. That should be good. So we have Liver Anderson. We have Kevin Watkins, Peggy Hansen, and Rob Wolfman. Someone make a motion to.
I make a motion to affirm the nominees into the board.
Okay. Any objections? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Unanimous vote.
Unanimous vote. Okay. So we have concluded the formal part of this meeting and concluding the live broadcast too. We now have a new board with 4 members, and we're now transitioning to the eating part of the meeting. Bye-bye.